Hello friend, welcome to the channel. This channel is all about fashion DIYs, that is doing it yourself. So today's fashion DIY is going to be on how to make this beautiful 3-in-1 head bonnet. So without saying much, let's get started.
I'll be needing the following materials. So I have my satin fabric. I have two colors of satin fabric here. So I have the navy blue and the cream, the matching threads for it, two matching threads, cream and navy blue. And I have this stretchy fabric. You can use any stretchy fabric for this part. So this part is going to serve as the band of the head bonnet. So the first thing I did was to cut out a square pattern like this, and the measurement I have here is 24 by 24 inches. That is the four corners I'm measuring, 24 by 24 inches. So you can use 26, 28 to 30 inches. That is, you can use 26 by 26 or 28 by 28 or 30 by 30, depending on how full you want the hair bonnet and how well you want it to drop at the back. But I just want something very cute and simple, so I'm using 24 by 24 inches. I also went ahead to cut out the other fabric using the same measurement. So this is 24 by 24 inches. So the next thing I'll do is to place the two fabrics together, right side facing right side. So this is the right side of my navy blue fabric, and I'll place the right side of this other one on it. So right side facing right side, just like this. So after placing them on each other like this, I'll go ahead and fold this into two first. So just watch what I'm doing. After folding like this, I'll go ahead and fold like this, folding into four. So after folding my fabric like this, I'll just place my tape at this tip, and I'll be marking 12 inches. So make sure you are holding your tape very well. Make sure you are holding this part very well so it doesn't shift while you are marking. So I'll be marking 12 inches. So I marked 12 inches from this point to this point because I'm using 24 inches. You know, the square pattern I use is 24 by 24 inches. So if you are using 30 by 30 inches, just divide whatever measurement you are using into two and just mark like this. If you are using 30 by 30 inches, that means if the whole fabric you are using for this is 30 by 30 inches, instead of marking 12 inches, divide 30 by 2, that is 15. So you'll be using 15 instead of 12. So because I use 24 divided by 2 is 12 inches. That is why I'm using 12 inches. So whichever measurement you are using, whether 24, 26, 28 or 30, so just divide into 2. That is what you'll be using to get this. So because I'm using 24 inches, the whole fabric I'm using is 24 by 24 inches. I divided 24 inches by 2, making it 12. So I'll be using 12 to form this. I hope you understand that. So after marking, I'll go ahead and cut this out. So after cutting, you should have your pattern looking like this. So the next thing I'll do, I'll take this to the sewing machine and I'll sew this round. I'm going to sew this round, leave it an allowance of half an inch, but I won't sew it round completely. I'll be leaving an opening of about 2 inches that I'll be using to turn this out. So I'll be using the matching thread to sew. So the navy blue thread is going to be at the top while the cream thread will be under. After sewing this round with an allowance of half inch, the next thing to do is to turn this out from the opening we left while sewing. So just go ahead and turn this out through the opening. So after turning like this, the next thing to do is to take this to your ironing table and give this a very good press. And while ironing, please concentrate on this part. Make this part very smooth while ironing is going to make the edges of your bonnet look very beautiful. So after ironing, before we do any other thing, so just go ahead and close this up. Remember this part we left open to turn this out. So just tuck this in properly and top stitch on this. I'll just close this up by top stitching. So after closing up properly, the next thing I'll do, I'll get my chalk and tape, and I'll be marking 1.5 inch around this 1.5. So I'll be marking 1.5 around my pattern. So after marking 1.5 inch around my pattern like this, so you can see what I did clearly. From this point I came in by 1.5 inches and marked round. So the next thing to do is to form the pleating on the cap. So to do this, ensure to use matching threads. So you can see my matching threads. The navy blue thread is going to appear at the top, while the cream thread will appear under. So I'm going to be forming the pleats on this line. I'll be sewing directly on this line. So just watch what I'm doing. So to form my pleats, I'll just pleat like this a little. You can pleat by 1/2 inch or 1 inch. So whichever one you want to use, whether 1/2 or 1 inch, please be consistent.
So you can see how I'm forming the pleats. I'm not pleating with up to 1 inch, but a little bit bigger than 1/2 inch. So whichever size you are using to pleat, please continue with the same size. So just continue with the same size till you get to the end of the line, and ensure you are forming the pleats on the line. You can see I'm forming the pleats on the line I marked. So just continue like this till you get to the end of the line. So I'm done pleating. So after pleating, you should have it looking like this. So you can see the inside with the matching thread and the outer part with the matching thread looking beautiful already. So you should have your cap looking like this before fixing the band. So after I'm done pleating, I just measure this to see if it falls within my head circumference, and what I have here is 24, which is very okay for my head circumference.
So the next thing to do is to fix the band for the hair bonnet, and I'll be using this stretchy material for the band, and the measurement I have here is 10 inches. For the width is 10 inches, and for the length I have about 20 inches here, and for this length I have about 10 inches. So 10 by 20. So for the length of this band, there's no constant measurement for the length of the band. It depends on how stretchy the fabric you are working with is. If you're using a very stretchy fabric, you can use 18 inches. So just make sure that after stretching, you should have at least 30 to 32 inches after stretching. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'll fold this, I'll bring this together like this. I'll go ahead and sew this by 1/2 inch. So after sewing, the next thing I will do, I will bring this together like this. So I'll be bringing this stitched part together like this. So I'm just trying to form the band. So just fold your fabric like this to form the band. So after bringing this like this, after bringing this together like this, the next thing I'll do, I'll get my office pin and pin this. Then I'll go to the opposite side of it. I also go ahead and pin this point, so you can see what I'm doing. So after pinning these 2 points, I'll be pinning these other points like this. So I'm doing it like north, south, east and west, just like that. So you can see what I'm doing. I'm just using my office pin to get the 4 points of this. So after pinning the 4 points, before fixing the band to the hair bonnet, I'll go ahead and also mark the 4 points of my head bonnet. So I'll mark point 1 and I'll come to the opposite side, mark another point. I'll bring these 2 points together like this. After bringing them together, I'll go ahead and mark the 3rd point and the 4th point opposite it. So the essence of marking these points is to enable us spread the band evenly so that everything will spread equally. So the next thing to do, I'll be turning this over to the part that matches the band. So after turning like this, so the next thing I'll do is to fix the band. So this is how I'm going to fix the band to my hair bonnet. So this closed part is facing this closed part, while this open part is facing the open part where I have my pleats. So before pinning, make sure to place this 1/2 inch above the sewn line. So I'm going to place this 1/2 inch above the line, so you can see where the line is and you can see where I'm placing this. So this is 1/2 inch after the line. So I'll just go ahead and secure this with my pin. So the next thing, I'll look for the other point where I have my mark. So I'll go to all the place where I marked. I'll take this up by 1/2 inch after the line and pin. So I'll continue like this till I get to all the points where I pinned and where I marked. So as you can see, the band is smaller than the cap, but because it stretches, as you are sewing, you just be stretching it to match up with the measurements you have. So the next thing I'll do, I'll turn this over to the outer part and I'll be sewing directly on the first line. So while this is 1/2 inch above the line, please make sure you take it 1/2 inch above the line and sew directly on the line so you don't have double lines. So as you are sewing, just be stretching the one under to match up with the cap. So just be stretching the band to match up with the cap. And make sure you sew this at the outer part so you don't alter the pleats you've already formed. So I'll go ahead and sew this. As I'm sewing this, I'll be stretching the band to match up with the cap.
So you can see while I'm sewing directly on the line, I'm also stretching the band to match up with the cap.
So after fixing the band, this is what I have. So this is the inner part. So this is one style, this is another style. And this is the third style. So do not worry about this half-inch allowance we left. This is going to hide it by the time you put on the cap.
So this is basically all for today's fashion DIY. Thanks for watching and see you in our next tutorial. Bye.